These super apostles had their own means of control. Paul chides the Corinthian believers.
In fact, you even put up with anyone who enslaves you or exploits you or takes advantage of you or pushes himself forward or slaps you in the face.
Just imagine. These believers were willing to be mistreated by these super apostles without complaint. These false teachers were manipulative, controlling, and demeaning, and the gullible people followed them. How did Paul look in contrast to these super apostles? The answer is weak and pitiful.
To my shame, I admit that we were too weak for that.
Paul was too weak to use the techniques of the false prophets. He was unattractive and unable to preach as well as they. What is more, his physical presence was unimpressive. One early report says that Paul was short, bald-headed, and bow-legged. Oh, just imagine the ratings if he were on television. Paul goes on to argue that his badge of authority was not his ability to do miracles, but the suffering that he was able to endure.
What anyone else dares to boast about, I am speaking as a fool. I also dare to boast about. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they Abraham's descendants? So am I. Are they servants of Christ? I am out of my mind to talk like this. I am more. I have worked much harder, been in prison more frequently, been flogged more severely, and been exposed to death again and again. 5 times I received from the Jews the 40 lashes minus 1. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. I spent a night and a day in the open sea. I have been constantly on the move. I have been in danger from rivers, in danger from bandits, in danger from my own countrymen, in danger from Gentiles, in danger in the city, in danger in the country, in danger at sea, and in danger from false brothers. I have labored and toiled, and have often gone without sleep. I have known hunger and thirst, and have often gone without food. I've been cold and naked. Besides everything else, I face daily the pressure of my concern for all the churches. Who is weak, and I do not feel weak? Who is led into sin, and I do not inwardly burn? If I must boast, I will boast of the things that show my weakness.
He says, in effect, you know that I am a true apostle because God has given me the grace to suffer so well. He was flogged 5 times, beaten with rods 3 times. He was stoned and shipwrecked. All of this and more is what gave his ministry credibility. And now the people at Corinth had to make a choice. Did they want to be like Paul, who has no money and suffers, or do they want to be like the false prophets with their fancy clothes? Today we would say, do we want to be followers of false prophets with their gold chains, Rolex watches, and fancy cars?
To get you out of this malaise of thinking that Jesus and the disciples were poor, and then relating that to you, thinking that you as a child of God have to follow Jesus. The Bible says that He has left us an example that we should follow His steps. That's the reason why I drive a Rolls Royce. I'm following Jesus' steps. You can talk about me all you want while I'm driving by in my Rolls Royce that's paid for and I got the pink slip on it. Talk all you want. Badmouth all you want. Don't hurt me in the least. Doesn't bother me. It's a whole lot easier to be persecuted when I'm riding in my car and I got the pink slip than it is when I'm riding in the car and owe my soul to the company store.
Or are we willing to follow a Christ who has taught us to suffer well? Like the believers in Corinth, we have a choice to make. May God help us to be discriminating in this age of confusion.